Our next and final segment brings on stage two members of the Woodstock Environmental Commission, also called WEC. WEC is a volunteer group that advises the town of Woodstock on protecting our land, water, wildlife, and climate future. Their work helps to ensure that the environmental stewardship remains at the heart of Woodstock's decision-making and community values. Of that group, first, I'd like to welcome Julia Blelock. Julia grew up in Woodstock and learned to swim at Apple Rock, which used to border the Sawkill. She is a current member of the Woodstock Environmental Commission and a past WEC chair. She is also co-chair of Woodstock's Drinking Water Source Protection Program, which is also called WSP2. You will hear more about that in a moment. Julia is joined by Arlene Weissman. Arlene has lived in Woodstock for the past 28 years and moved upstate to work as a land steward for New York City's Department of Environmental Protection. For the DEP, she supervised all land acquisition projects in the watershed, including conservation easements. She is currently co-chair of the WSP2 and vice chair of WEC. Please welcome Julia and Arlene.
Has anyone had a chance to read this wonderful book that is being espoused by the Woodstock Land Conservancy? It's a great, great book. I had not heard about it. I heard about it from them. I read it, and it's just changed my life. Some of what I'm going to be saying tonight is inspired by this book, so keep it in mind. It's called Drinkable Rivers, Lian Phoa, Phoa. Lianphoa is her name.
And there's copies available at the Golden Notebook.
Could you help me? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the Sawkill as drinking water. I'd like to point out that here's the Sawkill. So there's Echo Lake, and those of us who hike know Echo Lake, we love it. And then it comes down here, the Sawkill. Then it comes down to this area, which is where we have the town wells. And so this is considered the critical area around the town wells, and this is the watershed or the source water area. Okay, next slide, please. So what we're going to talk about is the Drinking Water Source Protection Program, which is a new program for Woodstock. A little bit about the history of Woodstock's water. Is the Sawkill drinking water? And if so, for whom? How does Woodstock's water become safe to drink? Are we good stewards of the Sawkill? And what we can all do to help. And then one final note. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the Drinking Water Source Protection Program. In November of 2023, we applied for a free technical program, which was offered by New York State, a combination of the DEC and the Department of Health. And it was on behalf of the town of Woodstock. We were awarded the program, and in March 2024, Laura Rickey, Arlene Weissman, and myself, along with a group of water and health and environmental professionals from Ulster County and Woodstock, began working with Michael Forgang and Paige Bogart, two New York State Department of Health environmental analysts. Losing my voice, sorry about that. Michael is also a hydrogeologist. He's a great guy, the wonderful pair, they're just superb. Next slide, please. Okay, so there were three parts to this program. First of all, we started out with an assessment. We wanted to look at what was the water quality and availability in Woodstock. Potential contaminant sources, very important. And then we developed source water maps. The second phase was strategizing. What are protection and management methods that could be applied in Woodstock? And then we developed a timeline for implementation. The third stage is the most important. We're just about to enter it now. It's the implementation. So this is where we've been to really protect Woodstock's water, we hope. So we're going to be sharing implementation methods with you. We are all going to be tracking and sharing our progress, and then we're going to try to raise program awareness so everyone in this room talks to somebody else, and we all get the word out about this program and what we can all do to help. Next slide. Okay, so where are we now with this program? We've completed the plan. It was submitted to the state back in September, and then it was sent back to us from the state in January Fortunately, they weren't asking us to change very much, just a little tweaking, and they asked for some additional details, and we provided those, and we resubmitted the plan in February. So that's round 2. And now we're waiting for the final approval, because that'll mean we can go ahead with real implementation. And so we're thinking that it will be probably in April, we hope. And when that happens, we can share the whole 89-page plan with all of you, all of our colleagues here in Woodstock, our fellow residents. It will include a series of best practices for protecting Woodstock's water. Next slide, please. Here's the cover of the plan. We can't wait till that word draft comes off. Looking forward to that. Next one, please. Okay, so here's a little bit of a trip down memory lane and not all that far back. Drinking water generally, as we know, we heard this over and over tonight, comes from 2 sources: surface water, that would be the Sawkill and other rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, and groundwater, that would be wells. So Woodstock's water district, drawing upon town wells and the Sawkill, wasn't established until the 1940s. That's pretty late. And then, as important, construction on Woodstock's $18.5 million municipal sewer system wasn't launched until 1980, much, much later than it needed to be. And before the sewer system was in place, Woodstock suffered from polluted streams, including the Sawkill and wells. It was not a good scene. Next one, please. So here on the left is an illustration from a 1930 sewer brochure. This was some of our fellow residents in 1930, right after the 29 debacle, trying to get their fellow citizens interested in getting a municipal sewer system going in Woodstock. The cost was going to be $62,500, way beyond what Woodstockers could possibly imagine. So they just wouldn't get aboard. And so instead, they staged protests. We have a few of those still today. And we had people who were resisting the central sewer concept until after the last public swimming hole, Big Deep, was closed due to pollution in the late 1970s. Finally, everyone got aboard. Now, interestingly, in 2026, Big Deep and other swimming holes are once again at risk because they're loved and really too much loved, but they're misused. We have laws on the books which can protect them, but we need to enforce those laws. We need to all gather around and help. And we need better signage. And so the Woodstock Environmental Commission is going to be working with the town of Woodstock, with the new Parks and Recreation Department, to try to redress some of the problems and try to make them safe and respected and truly lovable and beloved by everyone once again. Next slide, if you will. Thank you. Okay, so here we have, again, the Sawkill. We have this very important well area for the town of Woodstock. And the question is the Sawkill drinking water? Well, yes, absolutely. For every life form except for humans, it's what they've got. What else do they have? And we're not really doing them any favors. We have to do better, in my opinion. So the flora and the fauna, we need to help them out. For humans, the Sawkill is drinking water occasionally for hikers who might be camping up at Echo Lake or hiking down and following the stream. If they do certain things like boiling water, if they're able to do that, or add drops or tablets, or use water filters, or even UV light, the water would be drinkable for them. Indirectly, the Woodstock Water District customers are using the Sawkill as drinking water in the sense that the Sawkill has been identified as a recharge source for town wells. The Sawkill Watershed is classified as the source water area, all of this up here, for the Woodstock Water District. Next slide, if you will. So the question is, what does it really mean that the Sawkill is a recharge source? Well, wells are often installed near streams or water bodies to ensure that the aquifer they pull from is recharged during dry times so the wells themselves don't go dry. Sometimes wells are installed too close to a stream and the wells begin to directly interact with the stream without sufficient material to filter out contaminants. That's called a groundwater under direct influence well. Fortunately, the town of Woodstock wells are not GWUDI wells. Although they're recharged by the Sawkill, the aquifer material, the soil, clay, rock, and sand acts as sufficient filter. Next slide, please. How does Woodstock's municipal water become safe to drink? You can read this, but on the other hand, all the information that is there is actually included in the annual drinking water quality report. That's available on the wonderful new .gov website. And it's made possible courtesy of Larry Allen, who is our water superintendent. And the 2025 version of this report will be available in April on the website. Next slide, please. Okay. Are we good stewards of the Sawkill? Here's a challenge to us all. What if we started each day with the idea that we would make our daily choices with the goal of seeing the Sawkill become a drinkable river for all life forms? It seems like an impossible goal, but is it really? And if not now, when? And if not us, who? So there, on a happier note, is my little family. This was in 1958 at Apple Rock. And does anyone in the room remember Apple Rock? If you were a native, yeah, okay, a couple of us. This was when the Sawkill was near an incredibly large boulder called Apple Rock. And right now, the Sawkill is moved, so it's no longer next to that wonderful boulder. But at that time, it almost looks like nostrils, isn't that something? It's like a person's. Yeah, but that was a wonderful rock that you could jump off of, and it was a wonderful swimming hole. I learned to swim there when I was 4, and I'm a whole year later here, and I've got my little vest on, and I'm so proud. I used to think that it was so pure, that water was so wonderful that I thought I was a fish, and I could get under it and swim, and I could breathe that water. But only 20 years later, all those swimming holes were closed because of pollution, because we didn't have that sewer system in yet. So. Next slide, please. There are things we can all do to help. Now, with the Drinking Water Source Protection Program, we're going to be publishing a list of all sorts of best practices. These are things we can all do. A lot of them are things you probably are doing anyway, but it might help to remind us. So things like after this horrendous winter when we all had to cope with ice, do so, but do it with sand, not salt, please. Make sure our septic systems or tanks are pumped out every 2 to 5 years. Replace oil tanks before they leak. If you've got a leak, oh my goodness. Choose lawn care and garden products carefully and aim to reduce the use of pesticides and herbicides, and be very careful when you use your fertilizer. I mean, people think, well, it's fertilizer, how bad can it be? Not good for the water supply. So, next slide, please. Try not to use toxic household cleaning products. Instead, use natural substances like vinegar or baking soda. They work, they're great. Take care, this is the most important of all, what we pour down our drains, what we flush down our toilets. There's no getting back from if the chemicals go in there, how can nature really defend itself against that? It's very, very difficult. There are ways to dispose of these chemicals appropriately. We have ways to do it. So the Drinking Water Source Protection Group will be working on literature, as I said, highlighting best practices for Woodstock residents. In the meantime, you can Google EPA and Safer Choice, and you'll get lists of products that are recommended for the environment. If you'd like to reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. Email works, dwsp2@woodstockny.gov. Next slide, please. Here is a beautiful view of Big Deep, courtesy of Kelly Sinclair. What a beautiful photograph. So the final note, this is it. I'm leaving you now with this. Could that become a reality for all life forms, the Sawkill, the drinkable Sawkill? Can we have a drinkable Sawkill? It's really up to us. Why not, right? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, there's other things that you can do as well. For the Sawkill area, the protection area is so big that if you have a septic that's in the DEP watershed, for example, in the New York City watershed, you can get your septic cleaned out and get money back for it from the CWC. These are things that you should know, that you can get money back. It's great. Also, if you live in the wellhead protection area, which you can check out with maps and with the laws, which are on the town website, you have a requirement that you must clean out your septic every 3 to 5 years. And most people don't know that yet because it has not been implemented. But this law has been in place since 2022. So these are things that we are going to bring out. We're going to not just inform people via pieces of paper. We're going to have meetings. We're going to reach out to those in both areas and maybe even the complete town, and also those people who have businesses, so that they can start learning that whatever they have in their shops affects those people who are buying those items. And so that if Houst is doing something that doesn't look right, maybe they shouldn't be selling that. You know, that's the kind of thing that we're going to be trying to do. That's it. Okay.